it makes me wonder, like, does the PS7, if it exists, is it not just a flash drive? Is it not just something that you plug into your television or you plug in the, whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, it downloads the games to it and it plays it through that, and like it's all done in the cloud. Like, how much longer do you have, or how much long? Because like they damn near indistinguishable from a PC now as it is. They're
Hmm.
just PCs that are optimized to do one thing, mainly one thing, play
Right.
video games, and whereas a PC does multiple things. So like, how much longer do y'all think consoles last? Do y'all think, is it a year? Is there a generation? Like, we're on, I think, generation 9. Do y'all think by generation 10, is generation 10 the last one? Do you think we get to generation 11? How much longer do you think consoles will last, Terrence?
I think that after the PS6 generation or whatever they decide to call it, all right, I guess yeah, that's the 10th generation. After 10th generation, I feel like there has to be some kind of new innovation at that point. Which I still believe that VR is the natural evolution of all this. Like I think that right now, and I've talked about this before, is that VR is still seen as like a gimmick. Now, as I said before,
Absolutely.
I have a roommate and he has an Oculus and I've gotten the chance to play it and there's some cool games on it and the technology is getting better, but it's still not to the point where people are just adopting it. It's kind of like electric vehicles where the technology has gotten so much better for them and they are going to be the future, but not right now just because cost has to come down. You have to have more charging posts like readily available, especially in rural areas. And VR is the same way, where you're going to have more developers really hop on board and focus on making VR games just as good as like regular like console games. So I think that after the 10th generation, like the PS6 generation or Xbox Two, whatever the hell they decide to call it, I think that you either go to like a cloud solution or you go straight into VR. And we even kind of see that with the PSVR 2. Like those games are starting to look a lot better. And I just think that that's just the next step. It's just making VR better. And I believe that whenever like Apple or Google make their own little like VR headset and it's something akin to like what we've seen on like Sword Art Online or something along those lines, I think that's when we're going to
Or
truly transition to VR. Of course, minus the getting stuck in it kind of thing, obviously, but I just think that that's the logical next step is because we're already going there with shoot what with like the metaverse and everything like that's now a thing. That's the direction that a lot of these companies, like these tech companies, are trying to head in. So I just see VR being the next step after the 10th console generation, after like the PS6 or whatever. If there is a PS7, I'll be really surprised. I don't know at that point what you do because consoles now are so close to just being PCs that after this generation, I don't see why you wouldn't just go PC, to be honest. And we're kind of running into that problem too with I know with fighting games, a lot of the fighting games that have started to come out, the PC version plays a lot better than the console version just because like in terms of like not
input
frame
delay
rate.
and
Yeah, input delay, yeah, things like that, and they're in customability. Like you can do mods and everything. There's just so much that you can do with a PC, and the only thing that consoles have going for them versus PC is just the ease of use in terms of like just plug and play. You don't have to worry about uh like configuring a bunch of settings and whatnot. But yeah, consoles are just starting to get more and more like PCs. So after this generation, I just don't see why you wouldn't go to a PC just because the PC is going to run a lot of those games much better. So if we don't go to VR or some kind of cloud source, I really don't know what the future of gaming is going to look like after the 10th generation, to be honest.
so first off, I guess we finna get to that manga panel, huh? The one where the dude's like, "Goodbye forever, world." Just put the VR thing on his face and he's just out of there. Like, I agree. Like, I think two things, and I think I'm gonna pass it to Will after this. I just wanted to say these two things. One, as far as PCs go, society as a whole is getting more tech friendly. Like, we're becoming more conscious of tech and being able to use tech. And yeah, there will always be a barrier to tech where it's just like only a certain crowd will know what to do here. But like, I think PC gaming is more user friendly than ever. Like it's getting
Yeah.
like the games in general just becoming like, hey man, just download it and play it. And whatever barrier is there for PC, there's not that much of a different barrier for console. People talk about that all the time. Like when they start pining for like, oh, I just remember the days where I just put my disc in the console and it played it. Like that shit gone. Like you gotta add a day one patch, and you gotta when you
Yeah.
cut your console on, it's gotta download the latest patch or whatever. And like the days of you just like putting that disc in there and it's just like, hey, it's on, play it. That's gone, and it's not coming back. And so that puts them closer to like the same level as PC. So like that's just one more thing that's like okay, because I used to be a heavy anti-PC guy, and now I basically play all my games. Not even basically, I play all of my games on PC, and I'll continue to do so until like the PS5 is easy to get. And so like that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not that much of a difference. Like I just go download a game. I like pay for it on Steam or on Epic Game. I don't have anything against Epic Game Store like a lot of PC dorks do. I just I wherever it's cheapest, I go get it. I download it and I play it. Simple as that. What's up, Terrence?
Oh, one thing that I was going to say is that I do think that a factor in all this, like the transition from console to PC, is going to be like the developer incentives. Because right now, developers are still giving the console makers, like they're still giving Sony and Microsoft. Excuse me, Sony and Microsoft are giving incentive to the developers to stick to the consoles, kind of like Final Fantasy 16. We know that when that eventually comes out on PC, like that's going to be the way to go. But for now, Sony is making it where, hey, come to us, we'll pay you whatever and put it on our console. But yeah, what were you going to say?
I hate to correct, but like let's keep it a buck. It ain't Microsoft. It's just Sony.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's just
Yeah,
Sony
yeah, because
being like,
Microsoft
hey.
is PC. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you're right in that regard. But yeah, just I think the incentives also need to be there in terms of because I think it's getting better because in prior generations, whenever something was ported to PC ports were considered like a second thought. Yeah, I think
that Arkham Knight PC port.
Yeah, like stuff like that. There's legend.
Man, that shit was ass, bro.
Yeah, not Microsoft. Lord. Mortal Kombat X. I believe when that was ported to PC, that PC port was garbage. But now PC ports are starting to get better and better. And so I think that's ultimately what I'm getting at is that in the past, PC ports were not, they were considered like garbage tier just because they were not the focus. But now we're starting to see as the demand for PC gaming increases, now the PC ports are starting to get better and better. It's even gotten to the point where when a bad PC port comes out, gamers are going to call it out. Like Digital Foundry, they're going to do the tech videos on it and they're going to let you know like, hey, this isn't up to snuff. So I think that we are getting to the point where PC is getting just as much, is starting to be valued as much as just consoles.
It's a lot of this is too much money on PC. You leaving too much money on the table.
True.
It was a time where like it was a really small group of people that were PC that time has passed, and then like especially now when you see things like how hard it is to get a hold of a PS5, like how many people were like, well, I'm not gonna wait, I'm gonna just go get me a PC, and I feel like the only thing that worked out in Sony's favor is how hard it has been to get like the new GPU or like the old GPU, because like right now you've got the 3000 series for like NVIDIA graphics cards and shit. I've had to kind of figure out how some of this works because I want to upgrade. So like you've got the 3000 series, the 30, 60, 70s, and the 80s, and the 3090 if you're a weirdo. And like I'm just joking, but like the 3090 is like really not, it's not for gaming, it's for like other things, and people still just buy them just because it's like they want to stunt. So you're just wasting money. But like if you want to get a 3000 series graphics card, it's really expensive. And the only thing that's stopping people from getting into PC gaming anyway is that the 2000 series is also really fucking expensive because people are like, oh, well, if I can't get that, I'll get this. And so crypto mining is the only thing that stopped PC gaming from growing even further than it already grew. Like if without crypto mining and all that shit, PC gaming would have taken off way worse than it had. And that would have been bad for Sony because why would I come back? I guess to get like, a few exclusives, but like them exclusives better be some bangers because like I can play everything else except your exclusives. And then the other thing I wanted to say real quick, I agree with you on the VR. If they can clean up VR a little bit, clean up all the wires, make it come with the console or make it the console where it's just like when you buy the PS7 or whatever, it's just a VR set of VR goggles. You strap them on, you make sure they're charged up, and everything else it handles on its own. Like it can figure out where you are. It doesn't really need a control scheme. You're the controller. Like how you move, the PC, I mean the VR thing can just kind of detect how you move, and you can move and punch, kick, and aim your, you spirit gun when you're doing your first person shooters and all that stuff. Like as it figures that out, and you make it natural, just like an easy thing that you can just buy and pick up. Yeah, that VR definitely does feel like the future, and it is the next leap in gaming to me that helps gaming stand out from just, oh, it's just prettier graphics, and even that, like, they starting to be less pretty, at least to me. Like the jump isn't as big as it used to be.